Welcome to the Cult of Comics podcast. If you've never been on the show before, this is a comic book media podcast, and today is Sunday, October 31st. It's Halloween. It's spooky season.
Halloween.
It's been a couple of weeks since we've done the comic book club episode. We've been all kind of slammed with various different things. Me with school, Josh with life and being a father and, being on vacation.
Yeah.
And Sean has just
Vacation.
not really...
I haven't moved since our last episode.
You just stayed exactly right there.
Yeah.
Collection of urine and feces just building up around you, like the wall.
Yeah.
Like
I've
the
got
social barriers.
Yeah, I've got about 40 soda bottles, like the big ones, just filled with urine.
What do you do with the poop?
A regular modern day Howard Hughes.
Oh, God. For those of you who don't know, Howard Hughes was a very famous man who actually had a movie made about him called The Aviator, starring, what's his name?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Gilbert Grape.
Yes, that's him. Yes.
No, Gilbert Grape was Johnny Depp.
Yes. But he was in Gilbert Grape.
Yeah, but he played the younger brother.
And the question...
He was named Arnie.
Arnie.
That wasn't Gilbert Grape?
Johnny Depp was Gilbert Grape.
But here's my question. Did we ever find out what was eating him?
Stomach cancer.
Probably crippling depression.
Makes sense. I figured it was his fat mother. I thought that was the joke.
Jesus Christ.
He was just slowly being absorbed into one of her folds.
Like an
Come here, Johnny. You know for a fact that she's just sitting there. Come here, you guys, come here.
I bet she drank diet soda.
Does that have to do with anything?
Is that a stereotype in the UK? Like, oh, I bet they drink Diet Cola and...
No, it's just, you never see a skinny person drinking diet soda.
Thanks.
Sure you do.
I like Diet Coke. It's my favorite one. I don't like Coca-Cola.
No, I don't like Diet.
What is it with British people and Coca-Cola?
They just want to be American. Sean's a wannabe.
But
how many
ours
cans do you
has
drink a day?
not a lot.
Mm.
I have maybe like 3 cans a week.
Okay, that's better than what I thought it was going to be.
How much do you pay for a 12-pack?
I buy a 6-pack and it's like £3.
Jesus Christ. That's expensive.
Probably. I don't really
6-pack?
drink.
Yeah. I won't pay more than
We've got
$3
a
for a
sugar
12-pack.
tax. We've got a sugar tax on drinks with high sugar in the UK.
We do too as well. Well, in my state we do at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, a few years ago I just cut down on soda a lot, and now I just mainly drink water. Water.
It's best. Water. It's best to not drink too much of that stuff. Back when my dad first quit drinking, he was drinking Diet
remember you
Pepsi
telling me.
nonstop. Yeah. It was a very weird substitute. It was very intense. It led to a lot of stomach lining issues, which is not the first time I've heard about that.
Mainly only drink soda now with like as a mixer when I go out drinking.
Yeah, me too. But like even then I feel heavy afterwards. I don't know.
Yeah. At home though, I just tend to drink water mainly. Why?
I've mostly just been drinking wine, coffee, and water lately. I definitely need to be drinking a lot more water.
I just drink vodka straight out of the bottle.
I mean, I do that too.
So
that's not that big of a deal. Yeah. What kind of vodka though? Are you looking? What are you looking at?
Alexa's talking about vodka. I don't know what word I said to set her off, but
You drink Popov, Kamchatka,
we don't have Popov. It's normally Smirnoff.
Smirnoff.
Ugh.
Okay.
Yeah. That's just the cheapest.
Yeah.
Grey Goose is quite nice.
Grey Goose is okay. I don't know. I feel like
It's very smooth.
yeah. The more Russian, the better. That's my answer.
You get Tito's?
No.
I always think
Absolute.
Tito's was supposed to be like tequila.
It's so smooth, but it also is just so Texan. It just doesn't even. It's so expensive for what it is. I just don't see the point in spending the amount of money that they request for a
I
bottle
don't
of
know.
vodka.
It was like a few years ago. People were just going crazy over Tito's.
Yeah, but that's because like there's always some promotional bullshit going on. You remember that whole period where bacon was literally in everything? They put bacon in soap and then their donuts and milkshakes and
Yeah.
fucking
You guys do
toothpaste.
vodka and Red Bull?
Yeah, but I don't really drink Red Bull.
I don't
Yeah.
mind Red Bull. I don't
My
know. I
friends-
feel
Well, that's like the
it's-
only
my
way I
friends will,
usually
like,
do it is if I'm
Occasionally
mixing it
buy
into
Jaeger
something.
bombs,
Jaeger bombs.
and
Jaeger
I
bombs.
used to be able to drink them very, very easily, but
Not
now
cheap
the
from in the
smell
fucking
just makes me
zone.
gag.
Yeah. I used to get the
I
black
remember
raspberry.
I went
Smirnoff.
out for a friend's birthday, and he was out with some friends beforehand, and I got there about midnight, stone sober. I just like sat down and did 12 Jaeger bombs in a row without
don't
even
mind that.
hesitating. There's a
mind that.
video of me somewhere on some social media of me just downing 12 Jaeger bombs in a
Yeah.
row without flinching.
At the
And now
at
the
the end
smell
of,
just makes me gag.
yeah, at the end of 1 year of school, the guys I knew lived at one of the houses down on campus. They were leaving and they didn't want to like haul all their alcohol with them, so they just handed me like a box of like random odds and ends of all different kinds of liquors and whatnot. So one night I had a bunch of friends over and we were just going through that. And when we got done with that, we had a bottle of 151 and we just started fucking around with that, making up just the nastiest things. We're like, oh, hey, we got this coconut. Let's cut this coconut in half and just mix like 151 and coconut juice, coconut water.
I just witnessed this video of this guy taking a really interesting mixer. He said he suggested that if you end up making it, that it's basically going to be a jungle juice in a lot of way, but it's something you really got to let. Yeah, it's something you got to let sit for a little while. You take freshly sliced berries and like oranges and he didn't put any watermelon in it. He used mostly clear liquor, so like vodka. I think that there was a little bit of tequila in it, but I wouldn't mix vodka and tequila myself personally. But
rum,
yes,
190 Everclear.
Yeah. Mix all those together and then put in just a smidge of like Kool-Aid.
We do like Hawaiian Punch and Sprite.
So you can do that too. Yeah. You let it sit there for like a week and it's like this gigantic like 10-gallon bin like you got to let sit. Because otherwise it just doesn't work. You know, you got to let it really soak in there, and I don't know if it's considered marinating, but basically it's marinating with the
alcohol gets kind of absorbed into the fruit, and then you eat the fruit and you can't even taste the alcohol.
Yeah. And then the alcohol is also kind of like taking the acidity and then causing it to spread throughout the alcohol as well. So you're getting a lot of that flavor as well.
I mean, you've basically made like a very strong sangria.
Yeah, that's essentially the idea. Yeah, which I'm honestly tempted to do, but I just haven't decided to actually spend the $150 to actually do that.
Can you get the 190 Everclear out by you guys?
I haven't seen Everclear in a store in years. And honestly, the big reason why is because I don't know if you ever heard of the rumor about that kid who pounded down Everclear and died from it. I've heard various different variations.
I've had friends that like, you know, take a shot or a double shot of Everclear and it's like, hey dude, you got like 30 minutes to get home.
Yeah. There's that joke. There was a rumor about a kid who I don't know why this was the case. I don't really understand like where this came into the ethos, into the zeitgeist. There was a rumor about a kid who was drinking by taking the bottles and then putting them up his butt and then turning himself upside down. And that spread for a while.
Butt
and
chugging.
Literally. And I think that mostly spread around, no pun intended, spread around because of the Sean just got it. Because of the analgesics. That's not what that word means. I'm just using
the numbing effect.
Here. No, it was the uptick of people using heroin anally. And there was a higher report of people doing that. I don't know if people just kind of got things mixed around or
I don't know.
There was also, of course, the South Park episode where the residents of a town proceeded to shove food up their anus.
Oh yes,
and then shit out their mouth.
Yeah. There was apparently an uptick recently in the Pacific Northwest and apparently in Canada as well, where people are taking MDMA anally. And for some reason,
it makes their butts really happy.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Make
They
your
did a
butt
study.
sing.
Yeah, they did a study that made to see like how people were taking their drugs, and that was one of the things. And they're like, "Why are people taking it anally?" And it's just like a really weird headline for an article.
Yeah.
What did they say? Slavs use inhale through the nostril, and Americans do it through the butt. And it was just like, well, that's quite a lot. I didn't need to read that when I first woke up this morning. Thank you very much. Anyways, what we're talking about, this is a comic book podcast. We should probably talk about comic books and like instead of anal butt chugging and everything. But anyways, we can talk about some comic books. It's been a couple of weeks. What do we want to talk about first, guys?
What you should do is do like a keg stand and like go on your hands. And while you're doing that, taking it through the mouth, you have someone just insert a bottle of vodka into your anus.
I mean, that sounds like
you're just getting it from both directions. Tyler's used to getting it in both holes, though.
I am actually. Thank you very much for noticing. So, what do we want to talk about first?
I guess we could talk about House of Slaughter #1.
Yeah, let's go right into it.
I'm very disappointed this wasn't scripted by Tynion.
Oh, it's not?
It's plotted by Tynion, scripted by Tate Brombal, who won an Eisner, or it's at the end. He either won an Eisner or was nominated for an Eisner for his Barbalian run. Is that the title?
He was nominated for it.
Nominated.
Yeah.
And it's illustrated by Chris Shehan, whose artwork fits in perfectly with the main series of something.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't have been able to tell it was different.
I mean, it very clearly is. Yeah, the coloring is the thing that really brings them together.
And the color palette, and yeah. But the pencils are very similar.
I'm going to disagree just because this feels more of like a very feminine structure for things.
Yeah.
Some of it reminds me of the art for Dark Blood. Do you see that, Sean?
I can see that, yeah.
Or at least maybe like the last page. That coloring with shadowing definitely looks like the comic.
Yeah, I do kind of see that similarity.
So having not actually read Something is Killing the Children, I've only read like the first issue of that. Are there certain things I'm not going to pick up on or miss?
Well, the first thing I should probably say, spoiler alert for the main series, is this character we're exploring, Aaron Slaughter, is dead in the main series.
I think I've heard you mention that before.
Yeah, he dies maybe 10 issues in. He shows up and helps Erica.
Yeah.
And
I think you mentioned that it was weird that they were doing this series.
Yeah. But in that, he is a professional, and he's kind of a bit dismissive of Erica and how she's handling stuff, which is interesting to see here how close he is with her and how.
I mean, he's only stated how close. He's only stated how close he is. They don't actually interact at all.
But I think he's an interesting character in this. I didn't really find him particularly interesting in the main series, but yeah, they're building him up to be an interesting character now.
Okay.
So Tyler, did you read this?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I've read the first trade of Something is Killing the Children. I guess. I mean, I didn't know that this character was dead by issue 10. So
that's a guesstimate. He dies in the later half of the first 15 issues.
It's fine. I'm not mad about it. But I will say I don't know. I think it's just interesting that the development here kind of feels more about, well, not more. It feels like it's equal parts backstory and origin kind of this main character whose name escapes me and the organization. Aaron.
Yeah. And, well, this is very much world building.
Yeah. And I can see that. It feels a lot like some of the Black Hammer stuff that I've seen, like from the world of blah, 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 that kind of thing. But I will say that I think that this artwork is, compared to the main series one, at least, it's okay. I think that the coloring is the thing that makes it better. I think that there's a very obvious reason why this sold out at a distributor level, and I can very clearly see why this series continues to be such an incredibly successful franchise. But I kind of see what you mean about wishing for this to be more scripted by Tynion, because as interesting as this may have been, there's just a lot of points that feel very
Dragged out.
I was going to say stiff, but yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a few clunky bits throughout, and yeah, I think Tynan would have done a better job. It's not bad by any means. I still really enjoyed it.
Well, it's kind of strange too, because this other writer with the Barbalian one, maybe it's because it's 4 issues. I don't know, but it definitely hits home a lot more. And when I was reading that Barbalian one, I mean, it just very directly hits you in the gut with a lot of these things. I wouldn't say that I read it and I was like overwhelmed with emotion, but I definitely felt like there was a lot more boldness, I would say, from the writer than from compared to what I'm seeing here, I guess.
Is this supposed to be a short series?
Ongoing.
Mini series or ongoing?
This is an ongoing?
Yeah.
All right.
Tyler, it sold 460,000 copies.
I mean, yeah.
Milk every penny out of this.
Berserker is 12 issues from the start.
True. Yeah, this might go on for like a couple of arcs, or I don't know, it might spin off into something else.
Yeah. I like the blocking that they do in several pages of this issue where it goes across the page, multiple rows. That flows pretty well.
There's definitely some interesting artistic choices with it. Like I said, I feel like there's a lot of points where it's mostly just kind of stiff, but I mean, it's hard not to like so much of the organization and so much of the structure of like even just like the simplicity of like the eyes, the mask. Like there's an aesthetic to it that's very pleasing still. You know, and if that doesn't captivate you, then you know, people fucking hunting down monsters will.
Yeah, I think the main series was a lot stronger from the get-go.
Yeah, well, I mean, issue 1 is so strong and so heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, when Erica first comes and meets that little boy, what's his name?
James.
Thank you.
And it's funny because he looks like James Tynion. The character is just him as a boy.
I kind of figured that was the point.
Yeah,
honestly.
that's the only reason I remember his name.
Okay.
And it's funny because then Walter in Nice House on the Lake, also written by Tynion, also looks very similar to that character.
I would agree. I'm inclined to agree with you.
It's just kind of the sort of moppy black hair and the way they sort of like white out of the glasses, and you don't really see their eyes.
Yeah. No, I mean, if James Tynion shaved his beard, he would look very much like him. Yeah, no, I mean, I agree.
Is this Jace character new to the series?
I believe so, yes. Unless he's been in the last couple of issues of the main series, because I'm a few issues behind.
And most of the other characters we're introduced to here, Cecilia, Jessica, those guys are all...
Yeah, the dragon and... I've forgotten the names. The dragon and the white mask lady, Cecilia, we've been introduced to them. We've been introduced to a few of the other white masked characters, but they don't really have memorable names. They were just kind of faceless goons.
Yeah. So you've got the white, the black, you've got what? Vermilion, crimson, and gold? Something like that.
Gold is the dragon. He's sort of the leader of it all.
And what is the point of having the different houses? Is it just different styles of fighting?
Harry Potter.
Yeah, I get that.
I'm not too sure. I think it explores it in the few issues I haven't read yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a terrible fan. I'm behind.
How many issues then is it? 30?
20-ish.
Okay.
Yeah,
you had the first 15 issues that dealt with this Archer's Peak story. And then it took a break after that for a month or two and then came back, and I just never carried on when it came back. I've got the issues, I just haven't got around to reading it yet.
Sure.
And that the like 16 to 20 arc was a flashback arc, kind of tying into this, I believe.
Yeah.
Or like
So,
setting up, or yeah, I don't know.
So do people become monsters?
It's similar to Department of Truth, where they're thought forms, or at least the one in the main series was, but there might also be other monsters that aren't. Because if I remember correctly, she was surprised when she learned it wasn't a real monster, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Anything else to say about this issue?
Not really.
Did you feel you could understand it as new readers without having read the main series?
I think that
so.
I think that because it's kind of hard to not pick up on what is happening. I mean, even without fully like immersing yourself in that main series, it's very easy to pick up on what's happening. I think that it'll give you some more clarity to read the main series, but I think it's still something you can just pick up right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Would you like to move on to the next set of Scott Snyder books?
I just want to show off my Something's Killing the Children #1 while we're talking about this.
Okay.
Go for it. How much did it cost you?
That's the wrong box. Which box is it in? It's here somewhere.
This is great radio.
Yeah.
Da,
Oh well. We'll jump back to that after. Let's just move on to the next thing. So we got the 2 different Scott Snyder comic issues.
Yeah, we've got Clear #1 with him and Francis Manapul, and Night of the Ghoul with him and Francesco Francavilla.
Mm-hmm. These are
I love both
very
of these.
different.
They're dramatically different in what they are.
And dramatically different from We Have Demons from a few weeks ago as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do we want to talk about each one individually?
I mean, we might as well. Why don't we talk about Clear first?
Okay.
Something's Killing the Children #1.
Hold on.
It cost me less than $10.
And it's worth how much now?
In the hundreds.
That's a
It's
first
like
printing?
700.
First printing, main cover. I can sell the set of 1 to 15 for like 750.
You sure it's not more?
It might be a bit more now. I've not checked. It's probably
You need
more
to get
now with the hype from House of Slaughters.
You need to get the top loader for that, man.
They're hard to come by in the UK.
Just order it on eBay.
I'm in a different country to you. They're hard to come by here.
Order it on eBay. You can order it on eBay. International shipping.
Clear. San Francisco 2052.
Yes.
Did either of you understand the
No,
comedy
I did
in this joke?
I don't
No.
fucking get it at all.
I was kind of
Great.
expecting it to go for the Alan Moore joke. From
Yeah, me
Killing
too.
Joke.
No, I felt the exact same way. That's really weird that you say that. I was thinking that.
Because it was like, oh,
Is it
2
the-
inmates were escaping a prison or something.
Yeah, well, it's 3 of
Pagliari.
them. Yeah. The original joke was there was 2 escaping from a psych ward, and they get on top of the roof, and the light, they used to like walk on the light beam.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think I am, crazy? You'll turn it off once I'm halfway through, blah blah blah. But this one doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because it's the psychiatrist talking
Other
about
than, yeah.
Well,
Other than like
three-
we got rid of the watch, so now we have all the time in the world.
Yeah. And like, it was all fictional because it was like a imaginary stage with an imaginary performance or something.
Yeah.
What was they're watching an imaginary play by the playwright on an imaginary stage painted by the painter, set to imaginary music by the composer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it.
And they all look so happy as they're burning up.
Like, I get it, it's just not funny.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Well, I feel like if I'm not laughing, that I didn't get it. Like, I'm trying to see what I missed. But...
Well, no, I mean the
Crazy.
entire joke. it's not just that they're crazy, it's also like the question of perceptions of reality and perceptions of
Sure.
I kind of see it now, because what
the
they're seeing is
perceptions
all
of,
imaginary, and then in the main world, people can see what they want.
Yeah, it is an allegory for the main world.
Ah, it's still shit.
Yeah, it's not that funny.
Yeah.
It's just not clever, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And the visual that we're seeing is this lady jumping off of the Golden Gate Bridge to her death only made sense a couple pages later when it's explained that everyone sees the world through a veil of their choosing. So we're seeing her fall through other people's veils.
I mean, there's so much about this that you can appreciate, and most of that is Francis Manapul. I love the concept of this.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how much of this I can say that I'm like in love with as far as a story, but I thought this was I appreciated it.
I think I don't know. I like the main character. I like how he's got a unique style with the helmet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't understand the idea of needing a clear veil. Why not just have no veil? Why not just? I think they're wearing like contacts or something. Like, why not just not wear that? Why do you need something that?
I guess it's kind of to do with like in modern times how you're always staring at a screen and you're getting influenced by ads and kind of I don't really know.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I guess he
blinding you
has
to the
like
truth
the
of
heads
world.
up display, but I'm not sure if that's part of his helmet.
I think it might be. But like you see how it's to do with he needs to see how dark the world really is, whereas you have people who see all this happy stuff, but he sees the homeless people on the street, he sees these corrupt people doing.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you take the contacts out, you're gonna see that anyway.
Yeah, but can they take it out once it's in?
I don't know.
Because he mentioned at one point
question.
they're going to start like taxing you for not having it.
Oh, I don't think I read that part. Okay.
It's been a few weeks since I read this now, but I swear he said that at some point.
It gets more expensive to afford the clear veil.
That's what he said. Sorry.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not really explained how it works if it's an eye implant or something. I thought it had been the helmet, but I see, everyone else isn't really wearing a helmet. So it's got to be like contacts or their actual eyes.
Do we see a close-up of anyone's eyes in the issue?
I mean, no, not really. It just like it highlights people and then it shows that they're like experiencing the veil. But I always assumed it was just like a drug injection and like that was pretty much it.
Maybe.
Well, the injection that he gets messes his visuals up.
That's what I'm saying.
Slipping through all those.
So that must not be his helmet. That must be his actual eyes.
Yeah. Well, no one else is wearing a helmet or anything around their face. So I think it's got to be like, contacts or an eye implant or something. Like it's your connection to the internet versus a computer. I remember some short movie just on YouTube, like a little short that had something like that where somebody's heads up display just disappeared and you're seeing just basically the street covered in blank canvases to have whatever projected onto it that you would see.
Yeah, because I guess you wouldn't need to paint road markings, road signs, anything like that.
And he basically says as much, that anything that's new has been just made to a blank canvas, and anything that's old has just kind of been left to rot. So you're kind of stuck between either one. There's not really anything to look at in the real world.
Is it just me, or did Francis Manapul get a lot better at drawing faces? Because like the highlight of Dune's face, it seems dramatically more detailed. I mean, it's not like he was ever a bad artist before, but it's just
he used to go for like the kind of clean, simple thing where he'd just sort of draw like a single line for the nose and kind of like that. Yeah, but here he's added a few more lines.
He's added a few more lines. Well, I mean, I'll give you an example here. The brow has more detail as far as like his structure for the knuckle in between the eyebrows. The bridge of his nose has more accentuations. There's more of a layers of description for the scars around his lips anyways, but also his whatever this is, the palette, whatever this is. I can't remember. But those details are really standing out.
Yeah.
It seems he really likes to emphasize the shadowing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is maybe he's just like taking a lot of time to just focus on
Well, he's
adding
done
more
nothing
details.
since the Secret Origin issue of
Not even a
Death
cover.
Metal. Oh, he's done a few covers, but I mean, as far as interiors, he's done nothing in 10 months, 11 months.
I mean, I'm not necessarily surprised by that because, I mean, after one of his family members was murdered, you know, he had to take a long time off, and I get that.
He had to become the Batman.
Basically.
Yeah. So is this story really gripping you guys?
Well,
I liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it.
Yeah.
So as a person who loves noir and who loves crime stories, I love the crime element. I like that it's a sci-fi noir story.
I loved the cliffhanger.
Yes. I think that this follows a very simple structure that I'm very for. It in some ways didn't really feel like a Snyder book, and it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah,
I guess
even
I
though
was
it's like
just
futuristic with some cool, like high concepts, it felt very straightforward and not big.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, so this will be fairly short. Seemed like a short series.
This is ongoing as well, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, this feels like early Batman, the stuff he did in New 52. You know?
Yeah. A bit more high concept than that, but yeah. It feels, it's high concept but grounded.
Well, I mean, would you consider the Court of the Owls high concept but grounded?
Bit of both.
Yeah. Well, I think it definitely sets several avenues to explore. So Dunes has connections to the police force, even though he's a detective. He's got access to kind of the underground, the black markets, and now he's got connections to the upper echelons. So he can kind of go all over the place.
Yeah. You know, I just want to point this out really quick. The meeting of Mrs. Matters, I just love that that's the introduction of the femme fatale, because that's such a classic thing to be done. I love that.
That's very true.
Yeah.
It's playing with a lot of the tropes.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I know that this is probably a weird criticism. I don't like the helmet. I don't like the structure of the eyes. I think that's stupid looking.
Yeah. It kind of reminded me,
I was expecting it to be
Hood from Private Eyes, the Brian K. Vaughan comic.
I see that, yeah. I kind of assumed the helmet guy was going to be the bad guy, just because whenever a character has like a look like that, it's normally the bad guy.
Well, I mean, especially like painted on the cover. Handprints.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's still engaging. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm the bad guy.
He is the detective.
Yeah. Did you want to move on to Night of the Ghoul?
Yeah. So just going to say this one is a 6-issue mini.
Okay.
So this I loved.
I loved this issue so much.
This one feels a bit more like a Scott Snyder comic.
Yeah.
It reminds me a bit of like a Stephen King book as well. In places.
Well, I mean, I think that Snyder being, having the freedom to write the stories that he actually wants to write as much as he wants allows him to be a bit more creative in some ways.
H.P. Lovecraft, kind of like In the Mouth of Madness.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you. But he actually has, I mean, he studied under a lot of King's lessons, so to speak. So, I mean, I'm not necessarily surprised by the Stephen King.
They both suck with their endings.
Maybe it will. Have you read The Lot yet?
The Lot? No, the final issue arrived yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Issue 4 arrived
I need to go get that.
Yeah.
But it revolves around a a movie that was made that seems to have actually been a documentary in the comic. And I love the idea of, connecting all the different kind of monster horror movie elements into one
monster
entity.
Well, they kind of did that with American Vampire too, right? Like they explained that even like our concept of werewolves were actually stemmed from the shapeshifted vampires, and there were some emaciated vampires that were ghoulish, and that's how zombies were made. So it was interesting seeing him use that same concept into this story.
Yeah, I like that kind of central unifying entity. I like that kind of idea, and this seems to be doing a pretty good job of that.
Yeah, we should probably speak a little about the story. It is about a movie fanatic who tracks down the director of his favorite, the director of the lost horror movie,
The Night of the Ghoul.
It would have been the greatest movie ever if not had it been destroyed in a fire.
Yeah. What was this guy's name? T.F. Merritt, something like that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like W.F. Murnau with Nosferatu. But this guy who would have been a soldier in 1917, and it looks like it's modern day. So this guy on his deathbed has to be like 120.
He looks it.
Yeah.
It looks like Prince Philip.
No, he looks more like he's a burn victim. Like he got burned up in the fire that took his film, and he still survived all those years.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with that.
He looks like Two-Face, but it's all of his face.
One face.
All of my face. As opposed to his sidekick, Quarter Face. Oh my God, that's why he uses the quarter. That's the joke.
Taser face.
Taser face. Anyways, the character who is the horror movie fanatic brings his son along with him to this hospital, hunting him down. Excuse me. I don't understand the dynamic between the father and the son. And I especially don't understand the dynamic between the son and the mother. It looks like
the parents.
The parents are kind of divorced or something. So back when they were together, or the times that he watched his son, they would, watch horror movies, and that's how they would bond. But the kid is grown out of it.
It's less of my confusion is less about that, and it's more about the maturity of this child and how old he is.
That is, he's like maybe 14, but he's good enough to track this guy down. It seems like the kid did most of the research.
He looks like the kind of kid that if his parents were both murdered, Bruce Wayne would adopt him.
He could be 10, he could be 15. Can't tell. It kind of this seems up and down. The phone call with his mother was strange as well. And I guess I was just reading that wrong. And I was like, who the fuck is this? Oh, that's his mom? Why are they talking to each other that way? It just didn't.
Yeah, they've got some secret or something.
Yeah, and I get that. But there's just some delivery issues that I think I had an issue with. And I think that's more of like an art issue than it is the actual story itself. I don't know how to explain it. That's just the best way I can describe it. Because in my mind, if he's like 14, 15, and he's like, oh, I'm too old for that, Dad. Okay, well, draw him a little bit more mature. Give him some acne, something to clarify some of those things a little bit more. But small complaints, really. Because overall, the plot's very interesting. I'm curious about picking up the next one.
Yeah, and I just want to talk about the movie. So it's a couple of World War I veterans infiltrating a Italian village on the... Does Germany border Italy?
The mountains of
Why am I asking
Switzerland.
you? You're Americans. You don't know geography.
I know that, and I'm not even. I don't know shit about geography, and you're the fucking
Switzerland
UK.
and Austria.
So, yeah, it's the Austrian-Italy border, and it's a small town there. They're infiltrating, and when they get there, everyone is dead, or are they just? Yeah, everyone's dead.
Dead or dying.
Yeah.
And
they've been kind of zombified.
And the Ghoul. Yeah.
The person they find, their face is basically like melting away as they die.
Well, the implication here is like there's an association of leprosy and plague with this as well, which is cool.
Yeah.
The creature design looks cool as fuck.
So far,
The poster you see where it's kind of got the long spiny fingers. It looks quite cool. At the end, it looks a bit too much like a spider. But whether that is just a creature and then the creature is something else.
Yeah, I mean, for all we know, it could be adjusting its body to run in certain. I mean, we just don't know, but
it could take
kind
over
of
that guy's
shapeshifter.
body, and yeah.
I mean, if it ends up looking more like a spider, I'm going to be disappointed because it just seems kind of boring. But I don't know. We'll have to see at this point.
It was nice to have like an actual horror comic.
Yeah. I don't know. From the postcard, it almost, other than the hands, it kind of looks like the jockey from Alien.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that quite a bit. Yeah. All right.
So
I got nothing else to say.
TF Merritt is supposed to be one of these guys. Like, it's his story. Is he supposed to be one of these three guys in the movie?
It's implied that he may be one of those people, but it's not directly said.
Yeah, but we know he's already changed his name once before, so who's to say he won't do it again?
Yeah.
I just realized as well we haven't been given ratings yet.
That's fine.
Oh yeah, you're right.
These are a lot of number ones.
House of Slaughter, I'm going to give a 7.75.
Okay. And you?
I was just going to go for an 8.
I'm going to give it a 7.
Okay, Claire, I'm going to give a 7.5.
I'm somewhere around there. Yeah.
It's not my favorite thing I've ever read, but I liked it a lot. I liked it enough that I feel like it has a lot of that similar structure that I enjoy. So I'm going to say 7.75.
And Night of the Ghoul, I'm going to give an 8.5 because I really enjoyed the vibe of it.
Yeah. Probably going for maybe an 8.25. I liked it a bit more than House of Slaughter, but feeling kind of hooked into it, but we'll see.
Yeah. I'm gonna say 8.25 as well. Yeah.
We're all very much in the same ballpark as each other this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're synchronizing with each other. Maybe our periods are all gonna happen at the same time now. Yay.
Oh my god, I'll get the pillows.
Oh my god. We should talk about boys.
Yeah. Totally.
Yes, absolutely.
We are men and we will do manly things.
We are men.
Men.
What's your favorite type of tampon?
The bigger the better.
Burlap sack.
It depends on how bloody my asshole is.
Tyler likes just stuffing a pillow up there.
A pillow? Geez, come on. Be generous here.
It's like throwing
I
a
would
hot
at least
dog
use a
into an
rubber
alley.
glove. Honestly, the older I get, the tighter I get. It's interesting. I was had these my fingers up there this morning, and I was just like, Jesus.
Yeah, Tyler put a lump of coal up there and shit a diamond.
I'm rich, bitch. Anyways, Mazebook 2, I actually ended up not getting. My store didn't have it, and I forgot to read it online.
You're terrible.
Yeah,
I know.
All right. Well, we can cover this one fairly quick, I think.
Go for it. It's okay. I don't mind.
So this is a 6 issue series.
Mazebook 2 by Jeph Lemire. Just to throw him in there.
I think it's 4.
No, I think it's 5 or 6.
They're oversized.
Well,
I think it's
true.
They're pretty big, but I'm not exactly impressed by this because it's not exactly as advertised, where it seems like there should be a maze.
It's
getting there. We're just about there, but it took 2 issues to get there, half of the series.
True. So far, 5 issues are solicited.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to find out whether the last issue 5 is a conclusion or not. But my internet's being very slow all of a sudden.
I can kind of see what you mean though. I read just like the first like couple pages when I was like looking at the previous week.
Tyler, did you get Parasomnia? Did you ever go out
No,
and
I
get
never
that?
did.
So there's certain similarities here where the guy is basically like in a waking dream looking for his child that's lost. I mean, here the child is dead, but it's like you're getting phone calls that the child's like, I'm alive, come find me. So you're exploring the city and seeing the city anew in some sort of like dream landscape or something. But whereas Parasomnia starts out with him already in the dream, this is him approaching and realizing that there's, you know, it's called Mazebook. There's a maze, there's some otherness to the city.
I feel like with issue 1, it felt like there's a goal here to do something kind of experimental. What was the name of that movie where Robin Williams goes into paintings and it's like that's heaven, and that's because like that's where his wife died? Do you remember that movie?
He goes into paintings. I remember one where it was him in different incarnations, like he's reincarnated over time.
Robin Williams?
Like Ford. Yeah.
I'm not familiar.
It was in the 90s.
What dreams may come.
Yeah, what dreams may come. Yeah, thank you.
The one I was thinking of was Being Human.
Oh, okay. So what dreams may come is kind of what Mazebook reminds me of. It's just it's an experiment with telling a really sad story. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like
and there's a dog. Does the dog talk?
No, unfortunately.
I'm still enjoying it. I think the way the grief was written was very realistic. It felt like this guy just kind of walking around, not really knowing if he's losing his own mind or not.
Yeah.
And I think we're still waiting for the real meat of the story to kick in. And I feel like once that does, it's going to elevate the series a lot.
Yeah. It still would have been like, at least throw us like a little bit of a bone. Like you can see when he's staring at his phone, you can see some of the panels connecting. It would have been nice just to have like, just put a little bit of just connective tissue in between the different panels. Just do a little more of that.
Yeah, I agree.
Let me ask you something. Grief as a plot can work, but does it make it interesting enough to carry an entire story arc for a character?
It might, if it turns out to make sense. Like you'd have to read to find out.
Because the point, Stephen King says the big reason why he hates The Shining, the film, is because
it's a terrible movie.
Intentionally, I mean, yeah, that too, but
he said it's a pretty car with no engine.
Yeah. So when he elaborates on that, what he says is, when I wrote The Shining, Jack Torrance has a story arc. He is a different person over time. He goes through human experiences. He shifts to changes. He adapts, and there's an actual arc for these things. And it's the fighting of his inner demons as well as the hotel itself. But the point is to have that character arc, and these characters to have a beginning, a middle, and an end, have that conflict. And with Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, there is no story arc for him or character arc for Jack. It's just he's a piece of shit from beginning to end. That's it.
He's an already crazy man who gets slightly more crazy and decides to kill his family.
Absolutely.
I dislike The Shining movie.
I think that it's
an amazingly made movie.
Yes.
But it sucks.
Great cinematography, great performances.
The book is there. I pointed to 3 different Stephen King books today while I've been doing the podcast.
Oh my God.
Look how many more I've got to get through and point at.
Stanley Kubrick is a director that people love because he does things in a very artistic way. I don't know if that's enough to necessarily make something the best films of all time.
Let's wrap this up so we can move on to Ordinary Gods, because I want to chain that discussion into Ordinary Gods.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, please carry on.
Well, we can do the ratings for this real quick.
Go for it.
I'm going to give it a 7.5. 7.25.
You're in my mind. I was going to go maybe about a 7. I was thinking maybe 7.25, but I'm going to read the next issue and see where that goes.
It's only a 5 or 6 mini. I'm enjoying it enough to keep reading for now. Unless I really hate the next issue, then I'm going to finish it.
I wanted to pick it up, but then I also asked myself, do I really want to spend $6 on a book like this? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's not like it's 20 pages. It's
yeah, they are oversized.
I know, but
yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, so we'll move on to Ordinary Gods number 4.
Number 4 by Kyle Higgins and Felipe Watanabe.
What's the guy's name? Who is he? Where am I? I haven't read this. Go for it.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a scene in here, they're chasing one of the other, what are they called? Immortals or something? One of the other gods.
One of the other ordinary gods.
Ordinary gods. Just regular, everyday gods. And they're in Paris, and they're looking for this guy. He ends up being a thief. And when you come into contact with each other, you awaken more of your past selves, your past lives and memories. So they end up bumping into each other when the guy tries to pickpocket him. Like, who to pickpocket other than another god? And they have this brief glimpse of having known each other. And one of the people they had been, it seems they keep putting themselves in the bodies of, big figures from the past. So you've had Joseph Stalin, or I can't remember what other queen they had shown, but one of them had been Orson Welles. So it shows Orson Welles shooting, I don't know, who's that supposed to be? Annie Oakley or something. But you had mentioned Stanley Kubrick, and now we've got, one of these gods in their past lives had been Orson Welles.
It's kind of funny.
Also,
I don't know if I sent Edgar Hoover.
Is that JFK behind in the car?
In the car? Oh, I don't know.
I can't tell.
No,
I see a
people
car
aren't sitting
and a
in
gun.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know if I sent you guys the video of Orson Welles shooting a wine commercial.
Yeah, you have.
The French champagne, known for its excellence. So I thought it was funny that they had a glimpse of their past lives in France of Orson Welles. That was
he was one of those dudes. He was one of those dudes that just like is so fucking ridiculous that you can't help but like appreciate how awesome, how awkward he was.
And they worked that into like Animaniacs. They worked that into Animaniacs so many times.
Yeah, they did
in the 90s, and it's like, kids don't know who Orson Welles is. Why are you doing this to us?
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you remember when they made that episode where they made fun of Howard Stern and Robin?
Yeah.
Like, as a kid, I didn't know who that was. I just thought there was some adult reaching on that.
I don't know if it was just Animania. Like, there's tons of stuff just for the parents, and I love when they do these days. It's just like Orson Welles. He's like, "Can I take these peas?" I think that was probably The Simpsons. And he's like, "I just need a handful of peas." It's not quite exposition heavy, but it is a lot of walking and talking in this issue.
You're not into it?
It was just a different style from previous issues, I think.
It's the Department of Truth style of storytelling.
Yeah.
Just characters
well,
walking and talking.
the Scientologists are the heroes here.
Oh,
And they
God.
only found the guy because he tried to steal the Scientology machine, but it was nailed down, so he just left it.
Scientology machine.
Whatever the thing they grip the controller to test their thetan levels.
Yeah, we can just call it the Scientology machine.
Yeah, do you know what the name is? Because I don't.
It's a better
can
name
call it
than
S&M.
Teton meters.
S&M? Okay.
Yeah,
No
the Scientology
BD.
machine. No BD. Bloody dick.
Yeah. And just I don't know if I want to call it like an ex machina or whatnot, but they're just walking around like, we lost the lead. We don't know where to find this guy. And he's just in the convenience shop and is like, hey, buddy, I think I'll go rob these guys and pickpocket. See how easy it is to pickpocket these Americans?
Am I missing like something here? This seems like more boring than the last time I read this.
Yeah. No, I was just kind of laughing at the Orson Welles stuff.
Okay.
Also, whoever the guy's name and whatever his sister's name is, that was his guardian, well, keeper or whatever. Not really a guardian, but like warden for him, not the warden. But she basically gets relegated to go to Cleveland. They're like, you go to Cleveland and get picked up. Stuck in Ohio.
Is this exciting for you? This issue does not sound exciting to you whatsoever.
I'm
No.
enjoying it, but just talking about it, there's not a lot to talk about that I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're making me
So,
feel really good about not picking this up. I'm not gonna lie, guys. Sorry.
Probably. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep going with this.
I'm
but there's
enjoying
a
it
whole,
enough for now.
Yeah, there's a whole interview, a transcript of an interview with Orson Welles and who's this guy, David Elliott or something.
I don't know. Sure.
It's in the back matter. Yeah, I think it was a memory of him having been Annie Oakley. It's just weird how they kind of fit in all these historic figures.
I really
they
want
move
to
their
enjoy
bodies
this.
into the bodies of historic figures, or just having been a god, they somehow rise to the top and make their, whoever they're inhabiting become a historic figure.
There's a lot about this that I want to like, but I feel like it's not delivering in the way that I think captivates me, and I think that that's why I've been kind of like,
yeah,
I don't know.
But this is issue 4.
Yeah, but it's like how
I don't
much
really know when, like, we're getting to the end of the arc, right?
Sure.
So it's got to go somewhere, or the arc just kind of ends, like in 1 or 2 issues.
Yeah.
So, not really a great issue. Just thought it was.
That's what I'm saying, though. Is like I'm saying, like that first
interesting.
issue is at least captivating to an extent that you're like, okay, I want to read what happens next, and then it's just like dies off. I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah. I mean, they've got a lot of ground to cover to make the story work.
And
like they've set themselves up. Like we've got our 5 gods. We've got their, 5 kind of jail keepers. We've got the warden. Now we've got 3 more warriors that have been sent to capture them. And we've got maybe 1 or other people. And we've got people in the real world, which is kind of a fantasy world made of emotions, and the king that lives there. And there's just so much.
Why don't we move on, because it's we're going on an hour now, and we haven't gotten to the other half yet.
Okay.
Ratings?
So 6.5.
Yeah, I'll give it a 7.
All right. Well, let's talk about Kang 3 by Colin Kelly and Jackson Lanzing, with art by Carlos Magno.
What happened in this? Only myself left to conquer.
Kang kills Kang.
Kang on Kang violence.
There's a lot to like about this series, but this issue was weird.
I remember having a joke for the beginning of this issue where he's given like eternal life by Apocalypse and put in a sarcophagus, and he's just got how many 20,000 years or something to just sit and think.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. I
felt like
hate
there was
my own
something
company.
off about that.
We know.
Yeah.
So
I like how in the scene where Kang's fighting the Avengers, the writing is all very Stanley over exposition heavy.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
You've got like, no matter how potent your radiation, my Uru hammer can absorb the rays. No, I'm reaching critical mass. I've got to reach the safety of my ship.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I like how just clunky it sounds.
I felt that issue 2 was still captivating enough that I could enjoy it. And issue 1 was a big reason why I wanted to hop on this. And now I just don't feel like I want to keep reading this anymore.
I
Yeah.
think there's 2 issues left. I think it's a 5-issue series.
Yeah.
And I'm disappointed because like in a lot of ways, this is still a good story, but I'm annoyed. I don't know.
I didn't realize it was a mini. I thought it was ongoing.
No, we're just
that kind of makes me feel differently about it.
I think the point was to be introduced to Kang and get a real quick summary of like the high points and low points. Like here's all the big fights and here's who he's faced off against.
I don't know.
Some weird he goes back and changes history, takes over and becomes the pharaoh and just slightly changes things to I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I was so disappointed by this. I was surprised you guys even wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, just a little bit. I don't think this is that's about the extent of the discussion.
Yeah. I'm gonna give this issue a 5.
I don't know if I'll be that harsh.
Just don't care. I wanted to care more.
Yeah. 6.5. Doesn't really matter when you're that low.
I'll give it like a 6.5.
Yeah, we'll see.
I feel like you guys are being fairly generous. Well, this is weird because I feel like I've been the one who's been more generous about the previous issues.
Yeah, I mean, when you get down to, I feel like if you get down to that low of a score, it doesn't really matter at that point, unless it's like this was god awful. I hate the person for making me read this with my eyes. Too.
I mean, it didn't make me feel bad.
It's not bad. It's just not.
It's bland.
Good.
It's very bland.
I really enjoyed issue 1.
Yeah.
All right. I'm hoping maybe the next issue will be better. We're kind of back into the future, but not quite his future, and they've got Ravonna back.
So, should we move on to Batman: The Long Halloween one shot?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I have not read The Long Halloween before, and I have not read this one shot because I haven't read The Long Halloween.
You've not read The Long Halloween?
We've had this discussion before. It's on the list.
Okay.
That's a classic.
Yeah.
Have you read Batman Year 1?
A long time.
Yeah.
You read Batman Year 1 and you didn't think to carry on with Long Halloween?
I've never had the chance to. Every time I try to go get the trade, it's always sold out somewhere.
It's one of the few trades I actually own on my shelf. It's there.
You should be pointing to it, not like
I'm trying. Look. It's there.
Yeah.
You know what? The important thing is you're trying, and that's the important thing.
Yeah. Okay, so this is different from the original Long Halloween. Like,
yeah, this is kind of a little epilogue, kind of sequel-y thing.
Yeah, it's a one shot basically.
Yeah.
But now we're focusing once again on Two-Face and his wife Gilda. And we're bringing in the Calendar Man for Halloween. And he's got
Calendar Man was in the original Long Halloween, and he was jealous of Two-Face. And here it's kind of him getting his revenge on Harvey.
And it was the who was the holiday killer? Is that who they referenced?
It was Gilda and Harvey.
Oh, she was the holiday killer?
They both were, but at separate times.
So that was the secret.
Yeah, that was the big reveal. Sorry, Tyler.
Okay, I didn't get that part. I don't know why. It's been like 20 years since I've read the Long Halloween. Sean, if you look at the part where early in the issue, when Batman is fighting May in June, it appears that October makes an
October is
appearance as
also that.
well.
I saw that. But it's strange how there's clearly only two of them there.
Yeah, October is definitely not there, but he gets hit.
Yeah.
That's such a like. Why would you leave that in there? That's such an easy mistake to fix. The artist for this is
Tim Sale.
Tim Sale. And this is a very interesting kind of fluid style of art where you're not going for exactly very realistic. Like at certain points.
No, his artwork's very sort of over exaggerated and stylized.
Not quite cartoony, but it's also like almost fluid. Like if you were kind of hallucinating just a little bit.
Yeah, his artwork's definitely gone downhill in recent years. It's not quite what it was back in Long Halloween.
Yeah, some of these do feel like maybe like pages you would see in a webcomic.
Yeah, I think he had some health
lower level of
problems a
quality.
couple of years ago, and his artwork's just kind of deteriorated since then.
I kind of like the back and forth with Alfred and Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Like, thinking of a gift for a lady friend, Master Bruce? Miss Kyle isn't in town, is she? Julian Day. Oh, how disappointing.
I love Alfred when he's written like this, where they have a really like fun relationship back and forth.
Yeah. So there's a weird subplot here where Jim Gordon is like, my niece Babs is going out for Halloween, and she was like, she think it'd be really cool if you guys came and you brought your young ward and went like trick-or-treating with her.
I love that.
And then they actually do show up.
Yeah, Bruce brings Robin to go trick-or-treating with Babs. And I like to think Alfred was the one who forced him to do
it. Yeah. James, their son, is dressed up like a little devil.
And that's funny because he goes on to be a serial killer.
Like, Babs is dressed up like Batgirl.
Yeah.
It's not like Batgirl exists. She just...
she made a woman Batman costume.
Yeah. They go to a house and they're trick-or-treating, and you can see Beast Boy up in the second floor window.
Oh, yeah.
So it's an interesting little comic. I lost some of the context because I hadn't read The Long Halloween a long time ago.
One thing I really liked was seeing sort of like the church of Calendar Man, all his weird little followers and a little cult. I think it was a really fun little story, and considering Jeph Loeb's writing as well over recent years has been bad. Ever since his son died, his writing's just been going down and downhill, and I think this was easily the best thing he's written in a decade.
If it wasn't for all of the violence, I would have thought this was kind of like an Adam West-esque Batman, where he shows Harvey Dent shows up.
Violence, like him just beating Calendar Man at the end.
Yeah.
Calendar Man's like going on about how he was like raised in the streets and kind of stuff like this. He's like, you'll never.
I was an orphan just like you.
Yeah. Batman just starts like beating him brutally.
Yeah.
Just like then he stands up and his fists are bloody, and Robin's like, I didn't know he was an orphan, and Bruce is just like, was he? It's so fucking brutal. He just wasn't listening to him. He just beat him. I just see Calendar Man like lying on the floor, just completely broken. It's like, have you seen that TikTok meme where it's like Robin and then he's talking to Batman and Batman's just there, just like constantly just pounding a criminal for like 10 minutes.
So
it was just that scene.
Yeah.
So if Gilda and Two-Face were the holiday killer, it seems like Batman doesn't know at this point. He says that Julian Day was not holiday as much as he wishes. Sorry, I misread this line. Yeah. Never mind. I guess he does know. I misread it thinking that Batman didn't know, like he was wanting to beat the crap out of the Holiday Killer or something. So we get to the end of this and they run off, which none of like the first couple of pages really makes sense in the context of the rest, where you see this girl in white running away from a lighthouse on Nantucket that doesn't look like Nantucket.
Yeah.
Nantucket is very flat. Oh, she's escaping from the Squire Institute for the Criminally Insane.
So I guess it's Gilda coming back then.
Yeah, still weird.
Yeah. Yeah, Tyler, I would, when you get around to Long Halloween and Dark Victory, I'd say read this as like a little epilogue to both of them.
Sure.
Yeah,
It's a fun little story.
yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it doesn't add too much. Like you said, it's kind of an epilogue. It's not really necessary, but it's all right. It's interesting. It's something different.
It's what Toy Story 4 was to the franchise.
Sure.
It's just kind of an epilogue. It's kind of pointless, but it's still good.
Yeah. Do you think they're going to do more?
It said the end for now.
Did it?
So it's possible.
For now. There it is. Yeah.
For now.
For now. Yeah.
All
right.
Okay. Well, that takes on to Catwoman Lonely City by Cliff Chiang.
And Cliff Chiang. And Cliff Chiang.
And Cliff Chiang. Josh didn't see it at his shop.
No,
oh, yeah. Do ratings on Batman, guys.
Oh, I'd give it a 8.
7.5.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, well, Catwoman. Tyler, what did you think of this?
I loved this.
It was so good. It was so fun.
I mean, I really didn't think that I was going to enjoy it as much as I did. It's told really well. It gives you a lot without just directly giving it all to you all at once. It takes its time letting you feel what's going on with Selena Kyle. It kind of gives you hints about what's been going on since she's been in prison, Blackgate. And it's a well thought out, fun, interesting storyline. Cliff Chiang is masculine, but definitely knows how to write women, and that's very impressive to see. Kind of like Greg Rucka does, you know.
Yeah.
I think that there is I don't want to say that this is like a love letter to the character necessarily, but I definitely would say that so far this is potentially in the same category as the Ed Brubaker Ronan Catwoman as far as timeliness and how good it is so far.
I've never read that. But
I mean, it's Brubaker, so it's really good.
Yeah, of course.
So I usually am pretty burnt out on Elseworlds stories just because of how much I've been coming out lately. But this was captivating. I enjoyed this a lot. I'm curious to see.
Very much her version of Dark Knight Returns.
Yes.
You kind of had like the parallel scene where she's
Batcat.
No. This is a completely standalone thing.
Okay.
Basically, it's set in a future where Batman, Joker, Jim Gordon, Robin all died during a Joker attack.
Alfred
as well, poor guy.
Was it a Joker
kind
attack?
Of the only. I thought it was a Joker attack.
Well, they call it the Night of the Fool or something.
Yeah, I thought it was like Joker's last big
Fool's Night, something like that. I can't remember.
But yeah, and since then, Selena's been in prison, and then she finally gets released, and it basically does like her getting back into the game. But you have the kind of Dark Knight Returns scene of where she's like, oh, like I think in Dark Knight Returns, Bruce was like, oh, bones are creaking, the suit's too tight.
Yeah.
Something like that. And it does that sort of, it parallels that quite nicely.
It does parallel a lot of that.
Slow.
Yeah, it parallels a lot of that storyline, but if any, I feel like if anything, it parallels a lot of traditional crime stories as well, where it's the person getting out of prison trying to, come back to their life and figure out where their place in the world is. And it sold really well.
Did she like carve her name into the rafters that says like Selena was here?
She goes back to her old apartment, finds her a cat that's been there for 10 years for some reason. Gets into
I
contact
did
with some
my
of her old
waiting.
associates.
10 years of it in your
You know
apartment.
that what that made me think of? The
What?
dog from Futurama.
Now
damn
I'm
it.
sad.
You're welcome.
You did me a sad.
I'm
What
gonna
was his
cry
name?
myself to sleep.
Maurice
Seymour asses.
Seymour, the house is on fire.
Seymour. Anyways,
I was not expecting a Agnes impression then.
like I said, I didn't expect to enjoy this as much as I did. I think that this mostly surprised me because I've never read anything by Cliff Chiang. I've only ever seen his art.
Yeah.
And this is a lot of fun. I definitely recommend it to a lot of people right now. I would say that if they've never read a Catwoman story before, this is a great story to pick up.
Yeah.
Ratings?
I'm gonna give this an 8.5.
I'm gonna give it an yeah, I'll give it an 8.5 as well. Because I don't want to give it an 8.25 because I feel like that's dismissing the quality of the story itself. I'm definitely curious to see if there's going to be some changes from the traditional crime structure, but it's really good so far.
Yeah.
I don't know this next comic.
Oh, okay.
Deep Target #1 by Brandon Thomas and Ronan Cliquet. I told you to read it, Tyler.
I remember looking for it and I didn't see it at all. I don't know what this is.
This is the 80th anniversary Green Arrow Aquaman team up book.
Oh,
It's pretty weird.
The opening, or not the opening scene, but like the first scene with the two of them, I laughed out loud.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
when they actually confront each other.
Yeah, we see Green Arrow on his boat swimming out to the docks. He gets given a bow and like an underwater quiver type thing.
Mhm.
And they say, "Good luck, Mr. Queen." And he says, "I've told you not to call me that." And he dives in the water, goes into Atlantis, takes out some of the guards, and swims into the throne room. And it's drained of
He's
water.
got a whole breathing apparatus around his head, so you can't see his face.
He goes into the throne room and it's completely drained of water. He hides behind a pillar and we see a figure sat on the throne covered in shadows.
Mhm.
And the figure says, "I've been having the room drained for you every night. Thought it might make it easier." And then we have him come out of the shadows, launch arrows at him. And Green Arrow says, "Oliver Queen, you get the hell off my throne now." And Arthur's there in the Green Arrow getup, and Oliver's sat on the throne in like a tight little skimpy Aquaman costume.
Yeah.
Right in hand. And it's like a Freaky Friday type thing where they swap bodies.
Well, they haven't swapped bodies.
No, but they've
like
swapped lives.
Yeah.
But
it's hard to say. Like their faces are
Yeah.
basically drawn the same. But they have their signature hairstyles. So Queen has his like conquistador mustache and goatee sitting as Aquaman. And he's just getting arrows fired at him and he's like, "Knock it off."
Just the entire pacing of that scene leading up to that reveal, it really did just crack me up.
Yes.
And their whole banter, Arthur assumes Oliver did something and he's responsible for this. But we also have some subplot of this mysterious group doing time travel, bringing things from the past to the future. So
on
like
a treadmill.
Yeah, it's the Flash's cosmic treadmill. It looks like.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, it keeps going back and forth. Something happened over the course of 2 years. So it's like 2 years before, 2 years later, 18 months earlier. Now. Yeah. So like the past 18 months ago, but it's like the guy has warped himself into prehistoric times, I guess. And he uses a gun to signal that he's ready to be transported back.
Yeah.
Something goes wrong. It's like the Fly. His DNA is fused with a dinosaur, so now he's like
Could
director
be.
dinosaur.
Maybe.
Maybe
Yeah,
you
this
know
I don't know. We'll have to wait and
it's
see.
this.
Oh, well, we
Yeah,
see him at the end, don't we?
yeah, we
Is
do.
that him? I didn't
Yeah.
notice there was a dinosaur in that scene, so I assumed at the end it was Killer Croc.
Okay.
A bit slow of me.
No, it's like the Fly when he's being transported back. This little
Yeah.
dinosaur wanders up.
I see it now.
Call themselves the Scorpio group.
Yeah, I think that's some like Silver
Scorpio.
Age like villain people.
Yeah, it's interesting enough that I'll pick up the next issue.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
You're right. The banter was really good.
Yeah.
So we need more of these two guys interacting and less of
I
whatever
don't-
this group is.
Yeah, I just want them. Just don't give me a villain subplot.
Yeah. I feel like
Just-
this is what the blue and gold should have been more like.
Yeah. I agree. I don't like their costumes.
Yeah.
It's not their main costumes, and they're just too bright, and they don't have sleeves, and it's weird.
I think they did it because they just had to have green. Like everything just needs to
Yeah.
be green.
I guess so. But like Oliver's main continuity suit is just perfect. It's one of his best designs, and just seeing this new weird shiny thing is gross.
Mhm.
But yeah,
All right.
I'll give this an 8.
I mean, it was good. I don't know if it was 8 good. Probably trending more towards like a 7.5.
Yeah, I just really like Green Arrow.
Okay. I mean, I'm not really attached to it, but it was interesting enough
Yeah,
that
it was a lot of
continued
fun.
reading.
Okay, that takes on to Joker number 8 by James Tynion IV and Guillem March.
I feel like we're gonna have the next issue next week because we've been sitting on this for a couple weeks.
It feels like it, but this is an interesting issue. I don't know. So following Lady Bane and Lady Halloween, I think is what they call her, right?
Something like that.
Something like that.
Just royally maims her.
Seriously, like
How did
rips
she
her arm
survive that?
off. Yeah, well, I mean, you can survive exposure with blood loss like that for a while because of the shock and the adrenaline, but typically the adrenaline helps the blood flow, so you bleed out a lot faster. You're also dealing with an excruciating amount of pain, so you could die from the shock of that as well. I mean, it's a miracle that she would survive it in the slightest, but
Yeah.
the thing that
So
I
this
gotta
is
appreciate
Lady
about
Bane's
this
issue.
is Lady Bane. Yeah, the origin of her and her motivations and her questioning her own origins and why she comes to be who she is. And she seeks out Gordon specifically because she wants to change her motivation. She wants his passion, the reason, a real justified reason to actually go after the Joker, because she really doesn't have anything. And that's an
Other
interesting
than a rage that will be put into her.
Mm-hmm. I didn't necessarily like that she apparently is something like of a test tube baby that was rapidly aged. I don't have an issue with test tube babies. I have an issue with the rapidly aged factor of things. I think that that's kind of lazy, but
Yeah. I mean, you just can paint it as just being like a clone of Bane.
I mean, I don't understand why they couldn't have just had her be just a regular woman who was, exposed to it.
Brainwashed.
Yeah,
Just-
I mean, it's
Tynion had to create a new character.
I think so.
He had to keep up that directive.
Not my favorite issue of this series so far, but it definitely was very good.
Yeah.
I will say that this is another example of Tynion really doing a really good job, an excellent job, if you will, with having a person tell their story and having you remain engaged with who these people and who these characters are. He never does a bad job with a character at all. And you have to appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm still disappointed he's hopping off this. I'm also disappointed he's hopping off of Batman. I get why. I support it. Still
Because
disappointed.
he's earning like $15,000 a month at Substack, plus $100,000 signing bonus.
Fair.
Yeah, can't really argue.
You really can't. The back matter for this too was
still-
actually pretty good.
Yeah. It's all right.
Not a fan?
Yeah, I just haven't really been getting into it. I read it, it's all right. Whatever.
I'm inclined. I really enjoy Bluebird. I think that she's a fun character. So seeing her and Orca, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. So I still don't really understand the point that Lady Bane is trying to make. Like, let me kill him for you. Give me the reason. Like, if Joker were here, then my programming would take over and I would do the job of killing him. So give me a reason to do that.
So
But she
saying
doesn't need a reason because she's going to do it if he was there.
She's saying that she wants, because she's such an empty husk of a person that isn't a person, she has come to the recognition that the organization that she is working for is the determining factor in her life, and she doesn't want to be ruled by anybody. So
Yeah,
she's
but it's kind of
asking
like
for
make
him.
me want to fulfill the role that they've already programmed me to do.
It's more of, I already know what my destiny is going to be, but I want it to be something that is not these guys. I want to do something, and I can't create something on my own, but I still feel that hatred. Give me something that I can work with so I can at least feel like a human, is what this is. You know?
Yeah.
It's following the programming, but through a different outlet, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have anything else really to add to this necessarily. I think that the conversation was fun though. I mean,
Yeah.
This is a comic that I personally would rate higher.
I've kind of been falling out of love with it as it's gone on.
Yeah.
When we started it, I said, when we started it, I said this might be the best Batman series we've ever had in main continuity. And that was like the first 2 or 3 issues. And I still agree that started off strong. And then I feel it's just sort of been going down and down as it's gone on. Still very good, but knowing Tynion's going to be jumping off soon and knowing there's not really going to be some big sort of finish, it's kind of just...
I'm waiting for things to come together because we've gone and seen a few other things. You know, we've seen the women bat people. We've seen, what was that? Issue 7, we saw Alfred's granddaughter. What's her name?
Yeah, Julia, his daughter.
Yeah. Oh, his daughter. Okay. But I'm waiting for all these pieces to kind of come together. And once again, it's a Jim Gordon comic and not a Joker comic. Like, he's pictured in here, but he's not actually present.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna always harp on that. Yeah.
I think it's more. I get that it's supposed to be like the Joker looms in the background and he's ever present, and I kind of get that, but I agree with you that it is a little bit strange. But oh well. I mean, I would give this an 8.
Yeah, I just kind of thought that maybe with part of this series we would see, kind of follow Joker around and see how he operates a bit more. Yeah, it's about right.
I feel like the book would have been better if it was a bit smaller focus and didn't have the Lady Bane subplot. I just feel it could have been, just a bit more focused.
Yeah, and they burnt one issue for what felt like, an annual issue.
Yeah. Like issue 7. I think it was.
Oh, I meant the issue where it was like.
Yeah, the Francesco Francavilla one.
No, the one where it was kind of the origin story of Jim Gordon just guarding the Joker's cell.
Yeah. That was the one with artwork by Francesco Francavilla.
Oh, okay.
And then that story is being followed up in the annual, which is weird.
Yeah.
Very strange. What did you guys want to rate it?
Oh, I thought we just did that. You said 8, and I said, 8 sounds about right.
I'll give it a 7.5.
Okay. Fair enough. Strange Adventures number 12 by Tom King, Mitch Gerads, and Doc Shaner. This is
Yeah.
the conclusion to the entire series. And once again, Sean is correct in the predictions of how Tom King will do his story.
Sorry,
We'll celebrate
what
by
was that?
sneezing.
What happens in the end?
can you repeat
Everyone
your last
dies.
point? You said I was right, and then I didn't hear what I was right about.
I said you were right about how Tom King was going to structure the story from the beginning.
Yeah, cool.
And then you celebrate by sneezing.
See? I'm not just a pretty face. I know things.
I mean, are you a pretty face? I mean, you're
No.
my pretty face. You're my pretty little boy. I love you, baby.
I'm
Josh.
gonna go.
Josh, have you read this at all?
No,
We know he's not.
I didn't
We know
get
he
it at
hasn't.
the time that you guys were picking up, and I couldn't be bothered to catch up.
Okay. Well, I will.
I know you guys
try-
have talked about it so much, and I remember the twist in issue 10 or 11. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah,
It's
it
been
took
a minute,
like 2
yeah.
months for this to come out.
Well, I mean, okay, if that's the case, then I mean, Sean, did you expect the results of issue 11 to be like so permanent? Because I did not.
I didn't expect it to sort of jump forward a couple of days straight after. I
Mhm.
expected like immediate aftermath of that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I kind of guessed it would go somewhere like that.
Well, I mean, I guess it's an interesting result here because it seems to imply that there are no heroes and only people who can try their hardest to be the good guys, and that war not only makes the worst of us, but also it can ultimately, in a lot of ways, be inevitable and something that we can't really control. And when we try to control it, things fall apart.
Yeah.
I think that this is interesting to see because this is such a massive permanent implication of what will happen with Adam Strange
Well,
in
no,
the future.
it's out of continuity.
Is it?
It's kind of like a little grey area.
All right.
Like most of his things seem to be. Like we've had Mr. Miracle show back up in the main series, main continuity,
Yeah.
despite still dying. Yeah, I think it's a grey area.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did really like the series. I think it stuck the
It was
landing
good.
a lot better than Rorschach. This was definitely a lot more in the vein of Mr. Miracle.
So it ends better than Rorschach.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of how Rorschach ended.
Well,
Mhm.
I know
think
some people
that-
were, but just my personal preference.
No, I know. I think that they both are structured very similarly. I think it's just that one really just very solidifies that the ending of the mystery by issue 11, and the other does the same thing, but with issue 12 there's such a conclusion that it feels like there's like almost a continuation of the story, whereas with
Yeah.
Rorschach it feels like not necessarily
Not quite
open-ended.
final.
It's more of just like you want that satisfaction of an ending to a degree, and you're not really going to get it, and in a way that's really good. But I think that because of the nature of the crime mystery element of it, I think that it kind of muddled the ending just a smidge. I still thought it was great. I still loved it. I just recognized that there is that small issue, you know? But that's just me.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what to say. I liked how I liked the final Doc Shaner pages. They pulled at my heartstring a lot.
Absolutely.
Of where she's writing his book, and we kind of know where the story goes. It's a very bittersweet moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
Tell you
have
what,
anything else to say.
why don't we rate the whole series for you? What do you think?
Whole series, I'll give a 9.
I'm gonna say 9.5. 0.25.
That's fair. I think the only thing I would change slightly is the Doc Shayna stuff. I would have it. I don't really know what my complaint is. It just didn't feel thematically linked to the issues sometimes. It kind of did that thing that. Let me try and think of a example. I don't know. Like Lost, where you'd have the flashback to the character's past, and it would kind of tie into what was going on in the present day stuff there. Whereas I feel like here it was a bit too loose sometimes with what was showing in the past.
That's fair.
It kind of did more of a here's a fun Silver Age adventure, showing how he like what he was like, and then it's cutting back to modern day.
I mean, yeah, but I feel like it's more of that in between stage of the Silver Age and modern, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that that's the overall feeling that we should understand here is, you know, just because there's a glorification of the Silver Age doesn't necessarily mean that it's glorious, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that that was the entire point there. But
That does that does actually make it. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
That's the way
like
I hadn't
the transition.
Really thought.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we can move on to Superman and the Authority number 4.
What the fuck was this?
No fucking idea. Makes no sense.
No.
So confused. What was the point of this entire thing? I thought that this was so far out of continuity, and now they're just essentially they're leading into 1036 of Action Comics.
It is in continuity, but it's not.
Yeah, I just don't understand, because how far into the future is this supposed to be, where Superman has been doing this forever, and now he's like Gray Daddy Superman, and I just don't know what to think.
I wish I didn't read this.
Oh, I feel so good for not reading it because you guys were pushing me to.
It was
because
very
the first 3
good.
were still really good. It still technically is very good, but it just feels like this was
the end just makes Action Comics seem even more confusing. Because this.
Do you think they had other aims at the start and then had to?
This was a 5G/Future States ish series that was sort of cancelled and reworked.
Yeah, but like somewhere along the way, it's like, okay, you guys have 2 issues done, but you need to work this into what's going on in Action Comics.
Yeah, because it just kind of ended with them going off to fight Mongol like they are in the main series. But there was a lot more like background to it in this, which just didn't make sense. And it set up a load of like other plot lines and referenced them as if we should be following, if we should know what they are. It was like, oh, after what Kara said about what's wrong with Kryptonite, it's like, but where's that plotline come from?
No idea.
Yeah, very, very strange. Technically well written, it just doesn't fit in anywhere.
I mean, it really shows the very strange nature of Grant Morrison's, you know, mental state to an extent, because I mean, we all knew that they were very like weird and out there anyways, but this is very confusing, really.
But
more than
it
anything.
was kind of repurposed from something else, so in that regard I kind of cut them some slack.
Yes,
but it's still just a mess.
As a whole series, I'm gonna give it a 7 just because I liked those first 3 issues so much.
I think that's fair.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'd probably give it the same overall. It's a shame because like issue 1 was fucking amazing.
I know. And also the attention to the team changed so much here, and it just it seemed like a hard left, and I just don't get it. I don't know. Wasn't very happy with it. I'm disappointed, but I mean, we'll see how this plays out, I suppose.
Yeah.
All right. Well, shall we talk about what's coming out next week?
Do pick of the weeks first.
Oh yeah, pick up a week.
Sure.
Or pick up the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
All right. I'm probably gonna go with Night of the Ghoul.
That's my number 2, I think. Or can I pick 2?
Sure.
I'm going to go Night of the Ghoul and Catwoman Lonely City.
Okay. How many issues is Catwoman Lonely City going to be?
I think 3.
Correct, because they're
Okay.
oversized.
Yeah.
All right. I'll have to go track that down.
I think I mean, I really enjoyed Catwoman. As much as I enjoyed the Strange Adventures series, I think I am going to go with Catwoman at this point.
Oh, I forgot about that. Well, because we reviewed that as like a whole series kind of thing.
Yeah.
Definitely, if you're listening, go read that series. But
Absolutely.
as for new stuff, I could recommend it for those 2 series.
Absolutely. Should we do shoutouts?
I've forgotten what I've read the last couple of weeks. It's been so much.
Yeah.
All right, no worries. I'm just going to do a quick thing about Immortal Hulk number 50 then.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, go for that.
So Immortal Hulk 50 finally came out, and we got the conclusion to the epic that has been Al Ewing's Hulk run.
Was there
Very
any anti-Semitic imagery in this one?
Thankfully, no. Although I will say that there was a crazy amount of religious symbolism and text times 10 compared to the usual, because throughout the entire series, there's been quotes from the Bible and quotes from biblical figures. And this implication that the one down below and the Devil Hulk and all of these really, really religious iconography, all of these religious symbols seem to be tied together to some way. When we finally get to hell and get to actually see the one below all, it is revealed to be the one above all. And this is interesting because it's a really strange implication here. And it's very clear that Al Ewing has made a parallel to suggest and imply that just because you are the destroyer does not mean that you are only the destroyer. You are also the maker. And when you look at the earlier part of this series, having the Hulk say, we're going to destroy all of humanity, it's almost implying that he's going to be the savior of humanity in doing so. And having this idea, this question of if God and the devil are the same person, or if the devil is simply the mask that God wears when he does horrible things, then what is the Hulk? How many masks are there to be worn, and what are their roles to be played? Because these hands can destroy, but they can also build. And that is what is directly said. So going from there, they get out of hell. Bruce Banner comes back and he's all healthy and happy and good. I kind of felt like it was rushed a little bit. It kind of felt like they could have taken a little bit more time to develop that. It was an oversized issue. I don't know. It felt more of like a fizzle rather than a bang. And I kind of wanted more of a bang for a Hulk book. I loved the thoughts that
You
I
wanted
had
Hulk
with
to
this.
bang you.
Exactly. I felt like it could have been more of like an oomph. And I kind of wanted to feel a little bit more, because there's been so many times that I've read this series and been overwhelmed with emotion. And this was not, unfortunately, that one of those points. But I enjoyed the thoughts that it gave me. It gave me a lot of moments to go, I want to think about this for a little while. And that's all I have to say.
So does this lead directly into the new Hulk series?
The preview issue of Free Comic Book Day that leads into Donny Cates' run seems to imply that they are not directly connecting to each other. But it does seem to imply the Devil Hulk, the Awareness Hulk, who can have like full conversations, not Child Hulk, who like says Hulk in the third person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I really know about that point. But yeah.
All right. Let's cover what's coming next week.
So we've got crossover number 9, which you guys got this week.
Uh-huh.
Got it. Don't got it.
We got Primordial number 2, which one of you got this week? Dark Knights of Steel number 1 by Tom Taylor, his new DC Elseworld. Ooh. We have The Return of Silver Coin of number 6 by Josh Williamson. We have the new Tom King series, Human Target, starting.
How many of these are actually going to come out? Like the Image comic ones. Are these set for this week?
I believe so. I hope so. Because I'm very excited for Newburn number 1 by Chip Zdarsky. And we have Batman Superman The Authority special number 1, which will probably just make the whole Authority stuff even more confusing than it already is.
Probably. You muted yourself, man. Mark the time.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
You could have kept talking without me.
You were doing next week's books.
That was all the sort of big ones. There's only sort of a few smaller ones left.
Yeah. Well, it looks like we should be getting Firepower and Radiant Black if those haven't been pushed.
You know what? We didn't talk about Oblivion Song, and did you read that this week or
I did. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I feel like Kirkman's kind of starting to lose me a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it's the third to last issue, so just gonna go for the rest of the ride and see what happens.
I'm gonna continue with Oblivion Song. It's just I'm kind of feeling a little burnt out with Firepower as well, and I'm just wondering.
Yeah. Firepower's again.
They have it a bit easier than the Walking Dead folks had it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the folks in Oblivion Song, like they're facing trials and whatnot, but sometimes it's like they're on easy street.
Yeah, a little bit. I had this exact conversation with one of my local comic shop owners about how they seem to be able to have that like ease of conversation and everything. Just kind of funny. But that is next week's
just
books,
one
unless there's anything
more
else.
book I want to mention is The Rush number 1 by Cy Spurrier, who's got a lot of acclaim for some of his creator-owned stuff and his Hellblazer run. So The Rush number 1 is coming from Bolt Comics, and it's a Western, a supernatural Western.
A weird Western, nice.
Yeah, I'm going to be reading this if you guys want to as well. Up to you.
I'll check it out. Who is publishing it?
Vault.
Bolt Comics.
You got it. All right, cool. Anything else we want to say, guys?
No, let's get out of here.
Cool. Well, this has been the Cult of Comics podcast. It is our special Halloween episode where we got to talk about all kinds of good stuff this week. For Halloween, if you are going to read a horror comic, I'm definitely going to recommend Night of the Ghoul right now. Perfect comic to read today. You can check us out on all of the digital platforms such as Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. You can check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/cultcomics. You can check us out on all of these locations thanks to anchor.fm. And if you like what you see, or if you're tuning in with us for the first time, you want to check us out in the future to support us, all you got to do is give us a like, give us a share, give us a follow, but most importantly, you can give us $1, and you can do that by going to patreon.com/cultcomics. You can also go to the anchor.fm/cultcomics RSS feed to find our monthly contribution center there as well. And every time that you donate $1 with us, you're going to make things a little bit easier for us to live out there in late stage capitalism. Thank you very much. You can check me out on TikTok at Tyler Brown is here, where I occasionally make videos about stuffs. And you can find these two, you typically lurking in the background of a Reddit forum somewhere.
Yeah. Mostly the Image Comics subreddit.
I always see Josh out in the wild on the Image subreddit. I'm like, hey, I know that guy.
Hey.
I think I replied to one of your posts or one of your comments once without realizing it was you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we all met because of an Image Reddit post. That's the funny thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he posted to a couple different places.
I think I was probably the DC one.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Thank you for checking us out. If you've never been on the show before, thank you for checking us out for the very first time. All hail, stay safe, wear a mask, get vaccinated, be smart, and go have fun tonight. It's Halloween. Fuck it.
Bye-bye.
Bye.